The message is in part a wake-up call to my fellow Africans, and in part it is a proposal that we accelerate the pace at which we are generating intellectual resources for advancing our African society. So the message is in 7 parts or under 7 themes, each one of which deserves deeper dialogue, research, and generally ensuring that we expand the ideas. First is the realization that the world over, people are losing capacity to relate, whilst at the same time, technologies are expanding at exponential rate. This means that the human race is depreciating its capacity to relate whilst increasing its capacity for conflict. As Africans, we're getting caught up in this quagmire, but really we should not be part of this problem. We should be part of the solution. Second is that we should modernize, not westernize Africa. We tend to confuse the two, and as a result, our developmental strategies tend to be a copy and paste affair, rather bankrupt of African wisdom and intellect. We need to do better. Third, we need to address the unorthodox fashion in terms of the economic structural transformation process on the continent. This is because we're seeing a rapid urbanization with very limited manufacturing jobs being created. We're also seeing that the majority of our farmers on the continent, the smallholder farmers, are left out of the agricultural revolution and as a result, not participating in the mainstream economy. The bottom line is that all African countries are headed for a middle-income country trap because the dual economy continues. So when the African heads of states in 2003 declared the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, CAADP, that is the solution to the problem. But yet, a decade after, the program is not well implemented. We need to do better. Fourth is actually the, let's call it government, business, and civil society represent the golden triangle for development. When those 3 institutions are functioning well, development happens. But in Africa, these 3, at best, are dysfunctional, and at worst, work against each other. So what we need to do is to reform the 3. We need to strengthen government as a developmental state machinery where the capabilities of the public administration system is actually effective and efficient at all levels. We need to reform business so that it's the small businesses or indigenous commerce that dominate the marketplace rather than just a few large businesses. And in terms of civil society, I know there's lots of good intentions, but the problem is that our communities are really where the action is and where representation is needed, and NGOs are not good representatives of our communities. Fifth is that we need to reform the public expenditure budget architecture so that most public resources actually go to developing people, not things. So development should be about people building their capacity to dream for themselves and to work and achieve their own aspirations and dreams. So the public budget architecture should move away from this silo approach of just funding sector ministries or departments. We need a much more territorial development approach where public funds are invested where people are so that there's spatial justice and so that we stimulate economic convergence between rural areas and urban areas, between wealthy parts of the nation and poorer parts of the nation, and especially to ensure that our small towns, which tend to be post-colonial administrative outposts, have to be converted into economically active towns and cities. 6, The development agenda and public policy practice has to be more nationally owned rather than donor-driven. This is especially so at community level, because people at community level need to be better involved, not only in the agenda and the policy process, but actually the implementation of programs should be based on capabilities of local institutions and communities. Finally, we need to invest in a cultural revolution that informs the African Renaissance, so that African Renaissance is truly an advancement of African society. Because at the end of the day, we will never beat the Chinese at being Chinese or beat the Americans at being American, but we'll beat them any day at being African, as long as we do it in a sophisticated and polished manner. Thank you very much.